Two-time reigning national champion Roman Bravo Young. He's won 42 straight matches. And he'll wrestle Taylor Lamont for Wisconsin. Lamont in his 7th year, spent 6 years with Utah Valley. 7-6 record for the Badger Lamonts. And with Roman Bravo Young, Jim, fantastic on his feet this season in dual meets. He scored 47 takedowns. He's only given up 1. And he's flashy, but you've seen him evolve.
I really have. You know, remember when Roman Bravo Young, everybody was the internet sensation, you know, when he hit that, you know, basically backflip off of the single leg counter against the Lehigh opponent, and everybody kind of went crazy about it. And his athletic ability is something that's just on display all the time. But, you know, how we've seen him involved and how he's won really tight matches in the NCAA tournament and in the NCAA finals. He's really actually, you know, got more basic, you know, and he's actually, I think he's become tougher and tougher and tougher. So the evolution of his style was more acrobatic in the beginning, and now it's just really, he's got all that in his back pocket if he wants to go to it, but he's also got that great ability to with counter shots, and guys never get to his legs, and if they do get to their legs, they get stuck, they get stopped. It's just like he's got an anvil in his rear, and he just immediately stops him. We saw that a lot of times when his matches last year with Austin Gomez, where Gomez would get in, but he couldn't do anything further. So really kind of got a little bit more basic in his style, and we certainly saw it in the NCAA finals with the rides and quick escapes here with Dayton Fix and good solid single legs.
His last dual meet loss came in this building as he puts 2 on the board with the takedown to Seth Gross, February 7th of 2020. That was a 6-5 match. I remember when he walked back to the center,
yeah.
He was showing that 1 inch. I'm this close.
I'm this close. Looked him right in the eye. You know, fingers, thumb and forefinger 1 inch away from each other. He goes this close.
And all he's done since then is make the Big Ten final 3 times, win 2 Big Ten crowns, and beat Fix of Oklahoma State twice for a pair of national titles.
Yeah, world-class wrestler in Dayton Fix.
30 seconds of riding time for Roman Bravo Young out of Tucson, Arizona. Was a 4-time state champion at Sunnyside High School, 182-0. He has done a lot of winning on a wrestling mat. Inside of a minute, first period.
Right there, he's got the crossed wrist right now underneath. So see how he's pushing the elbow down there. Now he's trying to work back in to get to 2-on-1. Doesn't really have it there. The wrist let go. He's just basically following. You know, one of the things that, good job of competing there by Lamont. Well, Lamont is no slouch here. This guy's an All-American. Made it to the NCAA semifinals.
He was 5th down at 125 in 2021. Was a Big 12 finalist that year. Lost to Brody Teske, then of Northern Iowa. Of course, Teske now in Iowa City. Speaking of the Hawkeyes, they're in a battle with the Fighting Illini in Iowa City. Edmund Ruth beating Nelson Brands at 16-16 in Carver Hawkeye to 184.
Yeah.
We saw Illinois last week, and we'll see them on the network on Sunday as they'll wrestle these Wisconsin Badgers. But Mike Poeta doing a nice job there in Champaign.
Much improved team and a balanced team. Getting more and more hammers in there. So
RBY will go on bottom here in the second period. Lamont out of Mapleton, Utah, 4-time state champion at Maple Mountain High School, and a ton of accolades in Greco.
Yeah, he's pretty tough in the top position. It's going to be tough to hold RBY if he goes ahead and covers. See how he's covering the fingers there on the left-hand side. I just love that technique, you know, because a guy, you come to your feet too quickly, your guy locks his hands, and you got to be looking for a safe place to land. On the way up, when the guy can't lock the hands, if you can cover fingers, then just, you know, then cover the other set of fingers, get your feet moving. Got a great shot of getting out, and we're really seeing a lot of the Nittany Lions go to that type of technique to get out in tough situations.
RBY 86-9 for his career. Halfway through this second period, the Nittany Lion up by 2, 3-1. Wisconsin leading at 5-0. Eric Barnett with a tech fall for Wisconsin at 125. Shane Sparks, Jim Gibbons, here inside the UW Fieldhouse in Madison. Here's RBY single leg. He is so efficient, Jim.
Yeah, really nice job of keeping his head up in the ribs in that situation and coming to his feet. And then the quick finish. And basically, Lamont had to bail out of it.
Couple of takedowns for RBY, gives him 49 on the season. See Lamont there trying to jack him up a little bit, but RBY like a cat on the edge. Rick Pizzo will be talking about that highlight perhaps tonight.
That was sweet. They're basically, you know, Lamont had an advantage in that situation there with the underhook, right? And he was able to just work around to the other side and get to that leg once he cleared the underhook. Look, let's take a look at both these takedowns, Shane. I'm looking at the first one right here. Let's take a look at where his head is here. Puts that head right up into the rib cage right there. See that head right there, right into the midsection? That allows him to finish up and get to his feet. And this is great. Watch him clear out of the underhook and get to the foot, right? Clear out of the underhook and get to the foot. Great footwork.
Badger starting period on bottom. Yeah, Lamont mentioned that Greco success. Bronze at the Junior World Championships in 2016. A lot of success in Fargo on the big stage. Wrestling neutral.
Nice job of Lamont basically working those underhooks there, you know, making RBY really work, right, to get out of that and get a better angle, right? So at one point in time, he had both underhooks in. But you can't reach too much on RBY because that's exactly what could happen. Now scoop the bottom leg, clear your head out.
That'll be two.
Yeah. Stay hooked up on that.
Nothing awarded yet. Chest strap there from Lamont, and RBY works up another takedown. RBY 6 matches this season. He's got one fall in those other 5 matches. 89 points combined, that's 17 points a match, and he's on his offense again tonight.
Yeah.
One away from double digits.
At a minimum, with that riding time, he's looking to get an escape takedown exchange. There's the escape. We'll see if he get what he does if he gets the takedown, when he gets the takedown. And he's certainly hunting it, right? Lamont presenting himself in the middle.
RBY.
Yeah.
Deep penetration in the finish.
Yeah, what made that work, Shane, was he went to the other side that time. We've seen the single to the one side. He hasn't really given up the the top position yet, so no escape has been awarded. So now he actually needs a shot right there. Watch this limp on right here. See if he limps out of this. Right there, comes back the other direction. Now shelves the leg. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Highlight film material from Roman Bravo Young.
You see when he limped out of that, most guys will go to the limp side here. He came all the way across the body and attacked the leg. Well done.
Make it 43 consecutive victories. Now 7-0 on the season. The major decision for Roman Bravo Young of Penn State. Put 4 on the board for the Nittany Lions.
Winning the Big Ten championships, moving up to 149. He used to be in the Roman Bravo Young's weight class at 133.
He pinned Roman Bravo Young.
Yes, he did. So, you know, he has skills and attack both sides, but this Van Ness, just very good athlete, a tough guy to get off of his feet.
Gomez, the Badgers' first Big Ten champion in program history at 149. First since Isaac Jordan. Stood atop the podium in 2016, and these guys, Jim, coming out pretty scrappy in the first 20 seconds.
They are, but what I like from Van Ness is he made the decision here. I'm going to go inside collar here, and look, it's okay to go off the elbow right there. Using his reach, he's doing a good job of staying in the middle of the mat, holding his position. He's not getting pushed around out there, and a lot of times you see Austin Gomez, you know, bull rush guys to get his technique in, and I can see great balance here from Van Ness.
Austin Gomez beginning his career at Iowa State, as you said, down at 133. Out of the sport for a couple of years. Comes to Madison last year, up a couple of weights. Wins a Big Ten title. And an All-American finish for the Badgers. Here's Gomez, single leg.
Does a great job of coming up to his feet, but how about Van Ness coming back around and turning back into that technique? This type of flurry, you know, I think that's what Van Ness needs to do.
Here we go, Jim. Inside trip. Takedown on the edge for Gomez. 2-0 for the Badgers.
That's what we're more accustomed to seeing with Gomez in the first period here. Jacking those underhooks up, going into that inside trip. He got a little bit, looking back over his corner. They wanted to relax a little bit. You know, he didn't wrestle in the Midlands, so he's been out for a little bit.
Last time he wrestled was on December 11th against Drexel. First period fall, pinning Luke Nichter. And he had a really good battle with Sammy Sasso at the NWCA All-Star Classic down in Austin, Texas. There's a good mat return. He was down 4-2, Jim, after 2 periods, 4 takedowns in the third, and he beat Sasso 10-9. He is really good on his feet technically.
Yeah, he gets in that drilling mode, you know, that when you have at the end of practice, that you just go ahead and hit all your techniques with very little rest. You do that in drill matches too. But I think it's pretty important for him to kind of do what he can in the top position, Gomez, to take advantage of that great takedown and not let the youngster get confident that he can go ahead and get out easily.
Set.
59 ticks on the scoreboard.
You don't have to control him the whole period here, but you got to keep making him work for everything. Nice front trip off of that by Gomez. Like that technique. Just got to make the youngster work a little bit harder.
Gomez stays right with him.
It's interesting. That's the second time that Van Ness has kind of turned into his opponent, right? Turns into Gomez in this situation. Critical kind of finishes there. We saw him work effectively for him on the single leg counter that Gomez had. Now he did it with the mat return.
Sinks in a claw ride, tight waist, right off the whistle. And now with 41 seconds, Jim, he's got to be thinking finish the period on top. Get greedy here.
Yeah, he is. So what you want to do is you want to stay out far enough in front or out to the side. And really, if you could scoop that leg up, right? Warning in the top position. I think that's an okay call right there. But you're going to take that, Shayne. You're okay with that call with 19 seconds left in the period. You'll take the warning over the escape.
There you see Chris Bono.
Provided you don't get another one.
Yes. Not overly thrilled with that call as he'll go back to a seat in the corner. Big 19 seconds here.
That's a nice way to get the crowd involved.
Half Nelson, tight waist. Goes across the far shoulder underneath the chin.
Just a little subtly, just doing a good job of knocking him off of his base right there.
A takedown and a minute 40 of riding time.
Your choice, Green.
Iowa City, Zach Bronigal. Moments ago for Illinois, 1-1. Final seconds. And Bronigal defeats Jacob Warner 3-1. And it comes down to heavyweight. The Hawkeyes will need Big Tony Cassiope. Wrestling Matt Wroblewski. Wroblewski's up from 197. We'll see those Hawkeyes here on the Big Ten Network on Sunday afternoon as they meet up against Purdue. Gomez leading at 3-0, quick escape.
Yep, good job on the escape there by Gomez, and we'll see, you know, in the second period here, that was a tiring, taxing first period maybe for Gomez with a lot of riding right there. We'll see if it now, Van Ness in on a shot, pretty good position, and they go off the mat. No points, and Angel Rivera, who we've seen make some great calls here in the Midlands finals here, was right in the perfect position to be able to make that call whether they're out or not. Good work.
Great hips there from Gomez, showing some real strength in his core. Van Ness was in really good shape on a double leg as they scramble out of bounds. And the score remains 3-0, 1:05 here in the second. Gomez and Van Ness scrapping here at 1:49.
Like we said before, the hard ride that Gomez had, you know, this is his first action back here since first semester. You know, that hard ride, did it take anything out of him here? And if it's me, if I'm Van Ness, I'm a little bit more confident now that I can get in.
And Van Ness keeps a real high pace, a stat I love with him this season. He has forced 9 stall calls for points.
And he might be able to get another one here with 30 seconds left with a good amount of offense right now. Don't see much from the Penn State corner, but Coach Bono's up and a little bit worried about it.
Collar tie from Van Ness.
A few more attempts, I think, then Van Ness might be able to steal that call.
Van Ness moving forward. If you're Gomez, of course, want to circle back in, present yourself. Another shot there from Van Ness, followed by another one.
Another attempt right in there. Great shot, roll through, scramble.
Gomez has that right leg, and he clings on as the horn sounds inside the field house. He keeps that 3-0 score to the third. Van Ness with choice, they'll go neutral.
Yeah, I tell you what, Gomez dodged a bullet right there because there were about 4 straight attempts there by Van Ness. And now he's back on the attack. And maybe he was a little bit fortunate. Gomez was fortunate that Van Ness got in. Now spin around situation there for Gomez. He's holding on.
Gomez, of course, knocking off the 3-time national champion Yanni Diakomahalis back on November 19th. Yanni had 75 consecutive wins. He was 2 away from tying Kyle Dake for the program record, but 9-3 Gomez over Diakomahalis.
And all you're looking for if you're Van Ness is, I just got to get that first takedown. Just got to close the deal on that first takedown and just probably let him up because he's got effectively almost with that riding time. And you got to be careful about Gomez's offense here off this underhook. Running back into it.
Shots exchanged. 1:15 remaining in this match. Gomez a takedown and ride out in the first, quick escape in the seconds. Pace has slowed down a little bit here midway through this third period. And Ness is going to have to get to work. Takedown will put him right back into this match.
And now he looks a little bit weary himself. I understand why. He's been the aggressor here for the last couple minutes of this match. But you know, Austin Gomez has earned, and that's just being wise out there. You know your opponent has to come at you, then finally, instead of just getting to a neutral position off this, hits a good go behind there.
Gomez showing some of that veteran savviness there on that last takedown. Gomez slow back to the center, but he's in good shape. The riding time is locked up. 6-0 lead for Gomez. Now just 23 seconds away from his 8th win of the season. Quick sit off the whistle there from Van Ness. Gomez got to be careful. Gives up the reversal wisely. With the riding time. 6-2 decision here at 149 for the Big Ten champion from Wisconsin, Austin Gomez.
A lot of parts of that match were very pretty. You know, great technique and all that, but I think Austin Gomez will probably go back and look at that. Got to be a little bit more tougher in the middle of the mat. Could have been called for stalling there, but a nice win for Austin Gomez against a really tough young Nittany Lion.
How's it been so far, Coach, here in Madison?
Oh, it's been awesome, it really has. It's been a whirlwind a little bit, you know, trying to get everything into place. Doing the bowl game was a unique situation, but now finally starting to get your feet a little bit underneath you and some of your guys back around you. So it's definitely moving forward fast.
There's no control, gentlemen.
Single leg here from Lee.
Take a look at that balance that Hamiti's showing here. He can be effective in all positions, but you know, this one's going to be a little more tougher to be when you got your foot up against your opponent's waist and that elbow deep around that leg on the outside like that. And sweep attempt there by Lee.
Great balance here from Hamiti. Midland's finalists fell to Quincy Monday of Princeton last Friday night, 4-3.
See the hand fighting going on there underneath there. So you've got Hamiti looking for that outside wrist.
Action, gentlemen, action.
What was your go-to move, Coach Fickle, on the mat?
Oh, the bigger guys. I don't know if I was bouncing around like that, trying to hold my leg in the air, but anything I could do to get to the mat. became a little bit more of a mat guy because I learned to wrestle at a smaller age or at a smaller size. So at the upper weights, I think that was a little bit of an advantage for me.
How did you get involved in wrestling?
I started when I was about 4 or 5 years old. My uncle was a high school wrestling coach, and it was the first thing I knew. And I think that obviously it made me who I was and who I am. But it was all because of family.
I got to ask you this question. You're a big guy. You're a football coach in the Big Ten. Let everybody know that if you are a high school football coach, you want wrestlers on your team, and wrestling translates to football so well with the hand fight, the intensity, the footwork, everything.
I don't think I've done more talks or made more, somewhat speeches or even visited with more football teams about doing this, about wrestling, about the opportunities that wrestling can give you, whether you're a big guy or small guy. I get more calls about that and talking to a lot of football players than anything else. And I love it because I think it's a huge, huge part of it. And I think that you can do both and you can be really good. We can't do the specialization where, hey, just be a football player. I think that these things you learn from this right here are far greater than things you even do inside the weight room.
Yeah, how do you recreate opportunities like this where guys can go out there, compete, and come from behind, and clock management, things like that, poise under pressure. That's as many opportunities as you get to do that. It's what you need to do, and if you can be part of winning programs, which you were at the high school level at St. Paris, Graham. So it's like, hey, translates to winning.
It's invaluable. I mean, just this right here, being on your own in front of, well, it doesn't matter who you're in front of, but you're on your own. There's no place to hide. There's nobody to point a finger. I mean, don't get me wrong. I say football is the greatest team sport known to man, but there's no better individual sport when you're out there one-on-one. And the things you learn and it teaches you, I think, don't just make you a better football player, make you better at everything in life.
Green, your choice.
3-2 for Hamiti after the first period. And you talk about great technique. Look at that guy.
That's great hair back then, huh?
Yeah.
A little longer there, a little mullet in the back, but those were the times, right? I guess things have changed a little bit. So
the business up front, party in the back, as they say, correct?
Yeah. And I don't know that my kids have ever really seen that, so maybe if they get a chance to see that, they'll start to recognize some of those things too.
What is your most memorable wrestling match?
Oh, I remember the losses more than anything. I lost as a freshman in high school, and it probably is something that probably shaped and changed me more than anything. The opportunity when I got older to wrestle against the Russians, where I got thrown into the stands, kind of got humbled really quick. I think that was invaluable to me as well. There's not any one in particular. I think that all the life lessons that I learned throughout the times, the ups and the downs, the things I take away more than anything.
Talk a little bit of football here. What are you looking to bring to Madison?
Well, I think what I found out here in the last month of being a part of this thing and a part of the bowl preparation in the game is that there's some really good things going on.
Coach, we got a Badger maybe taking the line to his back.
That.
All right. Old-fashioned cradle right there.
Hamiti looking to give Wisconsin 6 at 165, and somehow, some way, Matt Lee wiggles out of it to his base.
And I tell you what, Coach, we've been here several times here with the Big Ten wrestling, and this is the most animated we've seen, most energy we've seen in this crowd in quite a while here. This is Coach Bono's bringing some enthusiasm, Coach Reeder bringing some guys that like to battle, like to scrap, like to challenge themselves. And talk about your relationship with this staff.
Well, I've just gotten to know him. Coach Bono and I go a little bit back. I don't know that we really knew each other, but we were on the USA team versus Pennsylvania. I think we're the same class. Yeah. So it was quite a reuniting there. And I think the only person that I recognized when I actually came in the building to accept the job was Coach Bono. And I was most excited. I got to go meet him. I can't wait to spend some time with him. And kind of found their little hiding spot in the sauna in there, and can share some stories in the mornings. It's a nice little kind of serenity and a little relief for me.
There you go.
Here's a look at that cradle from Hamiti.
Nice job by Hamiti, just coming up top there, off that little shuck and spin around move. I'll tell you what, you get your knee close to your head here, and he's going to move that off that single leg and take you right to your back. And really, Lee did a nice job of getting off his back in that position.
Hamiti riding time nearing 2.5 minutes. Lee scored first. It's been all Hamiti since then. The Badger leading at 10-3, 140 here in this third period. Pleasure to be joined by Luke Fickell, new head football coach for the Badgers.
You know, Coach, you played defensive line, and you weren't necessarily the biggest guy out there. You know, you're really typical, you know, nose guard or defensive tackle, but you know, you had guys coming at you from all angles. Wrestling certainly had to help you there.
There's no doubt. That was not the best athlete in the world out there on the football field, I think. But the things that I learned from wrestling, not just balance and leverage, but I think the core strength that it teaches you and you learn and you develop, especially doing it at a young age, is something that I don't think you can train for. In the weight room, you can't get those things. I think I saw one of my idols in Tim Crumry over there a little bit ago for the first time in a long while. And a guy that I remember watching because he was a wrestler that obviously played football and was a great defensive lineman as well.
Still red, we're neutral.
Well, I saw you in high school. You could have been a tremendous talent for the Buckeyes on the mat, too. So, did you ever think about making it going out for both of them full time?
You know what, I did. But, you know, it's crazy how things happen. My only thing I knew as a kid and all my goals and dreams were in wrestling. It was, you know, to win 4 state titles was my first goal ever, and then to win an Olympic gold medal was my next ever goal. And then my passions kind of changed as I got into the game of football, and later in the high school and then into my senior year, and the passions just kind of changed. And I've always missed wrestling. I've always loved it. But it was one of those things I wasn't willing to give up the other to kind of do this. And for me, I didn't feel like I could do it at the same level, you know, of doing both.
I know you'd wish you'd have a guy like this in Dean Hamiti that he likes to go ahead and put up points. It'd be nice to see him at about 250 pounds with it.
To see that finish right there, that's what I love to see. I mean, that's the first time I've watched him, especially in person, and he might be one of my new favorites.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks for joining
decision
us.
for DJ Hamiti. And Coach Fickle, thank you so much for joining us here in this broadcast. It is great to have a wrestling fan like yourself supporting the sport here tonight. I know the fans of Madison super excited to what you're going to bring on the Grayer. Thank you so much.
Well, no, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here, and I follow you guys. I watch you guys every time you're on, so appreciate having me.
Great meeting you. Thank you so much.
And this is a young man that I think is getting really comfortable with himself in the sport. Went through a lot of tribulations. He shared that with us at the Midland Shayne. And I think that Braxton Amos is looking forward to having a good year. This weight class is, they got 15 guys in it that could probably place in the top 8. And of course, last year, Max Dean was the guy that ended up being at the top of the podium here, beating Warner from Iowa. But, you know, it was a battle to get there from the quarterfinals on, actually from the round on Thursday night. A lot of close matches, a lot of tight matches, some upsets. Really an important match for Dean, actually, and Amos, because Amos, if he can compete hard in this position in the first period on the feet, I think it portends well for him in the match.
Mentioned, we have seen the points, Jim. Combined 149 points through 8 matches.
I was wondering why you just over there just squirreling around. You got your phone calculator out and everything. You got.
I've never done a dual meet with this many points. I love this. This is a style of wrestling that people want to see guys getting after it, put points on the board.
I'm sitting next to my man here. He's just squirreling around. He's got his phone out. He's rattling out, making the calculations.
You talked about Braxton Amos last year, Jim. Weights, had to get that under control. His mom had some health issues. There's 2 by Dean. That was slick. And I liked what he said. He kind of poked fun of himself. He goes, going to college, I thought I was a pretty smart guy, but after that class load, it was pretty humbling.
Yeah, he changed his major and got a little bit, of course, dealing with his mother's illness and all that stuff that he had shared with us. And it's just had a lot of things hit him at once. And you know, college wrestling is it's a great adjustment in it. You have all those things happening outside of your life. So I think he's going to have a better year. I don't know what will result in here, but this match will go a long ways. Come back here, get competitive, maybe get in the state. Dean is so savvy.
We saw him last year, Jim. Remember that match at Michigan against Patrick Brucky?
Right.
And then he had that turn against Warner of Iowa with the dual meet hanging in the balance. He turns Warner late. I mean, this guy, Jim, Max Dean, is just a winner. He finds ways to win.
And he's finding a way right here by just kind of just keeping just one appendage out there on the mat. Now he's got a better position to go ahead and ride Amos. Inside wrist ties. You try to ditch it here if you're Braxton. Try to get a new start. You see that left leg popping back in. He's just milking the clock.
Riding time at 1:24. Dean as they work on the edge. Slick work there as he maintains control, slides the left leg in as they go out of bounds.
Yeah,
Dean, of course, started at Cornell, and in 2019, Jim, made the finals at 184, fell to Drew Foster of Northern Iowa.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic career. Of course, his older brother, Gabe Dean, a couple-time national champion, and he was lured to this wrestling environment they have in State College, and it's worked well for him in his first year. Nice turn, change over there. And gets to his feet. An important escape right here. Gave up 135 to get it. So imagine what it would be like if he could have got out of bounds there, ditched that position. He'd have a lot more time to work with on the feet.
That was big for Amos to get that at 10 seconds in the first period. 2-1 Dean.
And I think this is a position that we've seen some improvement in. We've got a chance to watch Braxton Amos about probably 3-4 matches closely at the Midlands tournament. It was a good tournament for him.
Was a Midlands finalist, fell to Zach Bronigal of Illinois. Bronigal had big win tonight against Jacob Warner, but Bronigal defeated Amos 2-1 in the second tiebreaker. Looking for a return, working that riding time down as the Badger Amos. He's got the line up in the air, and there's not a good sign there from Braxton Amos.
He had a little trouble with the outside of his.
My time. Let's go.
On that
You're
mat
down.
return, lost his balance a little bit.
My time.
He's going to end up going down.
You can hear a pin drop here in the field house.
Take a little bit more time to establish what it is, maybe walk it out, but have a trainer come out and take a look at it if you're going to take the injury time.
I did not.
Chris Bono comes out.
We got control of mat area, red.
It takes a warning for it.
Not exactly sure what the question there or comment would have been from Chris Bono.
Yeah, they gave him the reversal there, so you've got the point there. Now good quick escape. Looks like Amos is moving pretty well here with his feet, so whatever it was short-lived. So with the quick escape like that, it's just the equivalent of giving the escape before, so it's just 2-4 score. So remember, this all started, the scoring started with a slipped headlock by Max Dean, right? He was able to go ahead, slip the headlock, kind of ill-advised, kind of left-handed headlock, kind of a big move early in the match that kind of a gift.
52nd second period. Braxton Amos in 2021 at the Junior World Championships, a gold medalist in freestyle, was a bronze in Greco. And then this past year, 2022, this past August in Serbia, was a member of the senior world team in Greco. So this is a guy, Jim, a lot of time on the mat.
A lot of time on the mat. He's got a guy that you just really can't blow through straight on shots with, and that's really what he's offering up right now. Counter shot by Dean.
4-2 match.
Well, the good news about this for Braxton Amos is that he clearly not, get winged here as far as, being hurt, his lower body, what bothered him on that reversal. He answered it with a good escape. Now if he can get another escape and get, maybe put a little bit more pressure on Dean. But maybe he's got to try to get a little bit better angle or jack him up or do something a little bit. Allow that leg to come in fairly quickly.
Crossbody ride from Dean. Continues to build that riding time over a minute and a half.
Yeah, he just lifted his leg up there like a dog on a fire hydrant there, and that leg slipped right in.
Max Dean from Lowell, Michigan, was a two-time state champion at Lowell High School. And for Amos from Mineral Wells, West Virginia, Parkersburg South High School. Amos, the 2020 Dave Schultz Award winner. Out of high school, spent a year at the Badger RTC before competing last season for the first time. He was 18-11, 1-2 in the NCAAs as a 23 seed. Trying to solve the puzzle of Max Dean on top.
Well, now he's got a leg hooked up there. He fished that leg back in. He's in a little bit better position, but he's got to start moving quickly. Giving up a ton of riding time here right now, Shayne.
Yeah, riding time is locked up.
He does get out. He goes back in on the leg, so he would have freed himself up a little bit better. He'd get the escape. And now Dean is going to be a great coach someday because he's got all the tricks. Just how to lay, put his weight on the guy properly, the little things from the down position, finishes, putting the pressure on you.
See the instructions from Chris Bono in the Badger corner trying to cheer on his 197-pounder Braxton Amos. Well, I mean, Max Dean was born with wrestling in his blood. You mentioned his brother Gabe, three-time finalist, two-time national champ. His father, Dave Dean. I mean, he's been around this sport from birth.
Yep, 1987 finalist from Minnesota. Now as we've seen many times, from the top position in the third period, Max Dean kind of takes over. Really tough in the top position. Now
we've seen this before. Here we go with that bow and arrow.
That's tight.
Late in this match, Max Dean. God, that looks painful. And Max Dean, big time in the third period once again. We've seen that a bunch of times in his career. And with that turn and the riding time points, it's a major decision for the reigning national champion, Max Dean. A couple losses this season. He's ranked 4th in the country, but you know he'll have something to say when it's all said and done at this 197-pound weight class. We head to heavyweight, 25-11. The Nittany Lions. 1 point deducted from the Badger score with control of mats. Ranked showdown with top-ranked Greg Kerkvliet and Trent Hillger, the Badger ranked 11th in the country. Hillger, a 3-time All-American.
Hillger, a guy that just shows up in that national tournament, and last year he showed up at about 215 pounds. And as you can see, the man that's out there in white right now is about 265. Are we talking?
Put on 50 pounds, 12,000 calories a day. Want to remind everybody, follow us on Instagram at B1G Wrestling. Coming up on 80,000. Want to get to that 80,000 mark? Some great content, highlights, interviews. And here's Kerkvliet, like a dog on a bone. There's 2 for the Nittany Lion.
Nice little low ankle shot right there and followed it through. So, we saw a healthy Greg Kerkvliet last year, and you saw his freshman year, he looked like a shell of himself and didn't really know how competitive he could be. But this young man really started showing it at tournament time, and already the #1 ranked wrestler in the country this year.
Kerkvliet, 2-time All-American, 7th in 2021, 4th last March in Detroit.
I think that freshman year was just doing it solely on his athletic ability. He wasn't feeling good most of the year, but ended up placing in the Nationals. And that's just a guy that's used to winning. And now, all of a sudden, he's feeling good and healthy. And he looks like he's gained a few pounds here as well. The strength and the footwork that you see from Kerkvliet. And he's a tough guy to take down.
Kerkvliet grew up in Hudson, Wisconsin. That is on the western side of the states. Then, of course, moved to Inner Grove Heights and wrestled for Will Short at Sibley. Here's Hillger with an opportunity.
Counter shot and a switch. There, high leg over here by Kerkvliet. Guy who keeps his head up, right? See that right hand post there allowed Kerkvliet to keep a little elevation right there that kept Hillger down in that position, so he wins the scramble. If you do have your head down, you just want to be moving your rear end into the guy, okay? You're going to roll into him. You want to knock him down a little bit so you can get that elevation later on in the scramble.
Second takedown of the first period for Kerkvliet. At head lever, coffee grinder position on the right side as Hillger to his feet. And the Badger escapes. One more tally. Now a 4-2 match. Half a minute here in the first. Kerkvliet, 2017 Cadet World Champ and 2018 Cadet Silver. Made the Junior World Team but did not wrestle due to injury. 2019, fifth at the U23 World Championships. Another guy with a ton of experience and success internationally.
I like what I see from Kerkvliet. See, the big man kind of, marches forward. He's in a tie that he likes, but he's, can go ahead and march forward here, drive and step, and drive and step, and drive and step. Let's look at that sequence here on the beautiful scramble here by Kerkvliet. It's a low leg attack right there. Okay, almost all the way behind, gets up to his feet, hits the standing switch. Right now he's down, but see how he takes his rear end into the opponent right there? If you got your head down, move into the man. And now he gets a chance to get his head up, right, and scores the points.
An escape in 4 seconds. And he is imposing.
Yeah, he is, but the quick feet that we see. I think Hillger's been moving pretty well. These are high-dollar takedowns right now.
Kerkvliet leading at 5-2 following that quick escape here in the second period. Trent Hillger out of Holly, Michigan. Lake Fenton High School, won 3 state titles, was 4th as a freshman, and he's had a solid career here in Madison as a 3-time All-American. Placed 4th at the Big Ten Championships for Wisconsin in both 2019 and 2020. And of course, Jim, Gable Steveson, he's moved on, but this weight class, you still got the top 4 guys in the rankings with Kerkvliet, Paris of Michigan, Cassiope of Iowa, and the Midlands champion Lucas Davison of Northwestern. Heavyweights loaded in the Big Ten.
And guys that can go out there and score points, and they can wrestle, they can be athletic, and I think you had an opportunity to interview Hillger at Midlands, and he said he wanted to come back into this weight class of, that it's probably one of the best eras that we've ever had. The last 10 to 15 years in this weight class have been, phenomenal. Athletes who've immediately gone on and been committed at the world level. Nick Wisgowski, guys like that, Mike McMullen, all these different body styles.
Adam Kuna, Michigan.
Adam Kuna, Michigan, was a world silver medalist in
Greco. Tony Nelson going a little far back, but he was a hammer as well. Couple-time national champion for the Gophers. So Hillger will go on bottom here in this third period.
And I loved his perspective. He said, hey, I want to be part of this show. These are some of the best athletes of any era.
And he said he wanted to go all in. When he made that commitment to come back for a 6th year, he said, I'm going to go all in, puts the 50 pounds on. And I had a conversation with Chris Bono a few months back. I said, give me one guy you're most excited about. Give me that one guy that's really made some gains. And he said, Trent Hillger.
Yeah, when you've already been a 2-time All-American, and maybe not had the regular season that you want, but you're building for something like that. But you got to like the way Kerkvliet looks in this situation. All positions here so far. Low-level attacks. Now the riding.
That's stall call.
You mentioned the 4-second escape that it took. So it's going to be hard to get him off his feet.
Jim, I'd like to wish my daughter Lauren a happy 17th birthday. 17 years old today. Super proud of her. And my son Logan got accepted today by the United States Air Force, and he'll be heading off pretty soon.
That's fantastic.
So a proud dad today.
Yeah, you should be. All right, that's a lot of time to spend with Logan here on one of our trips together.
He's on the trip.
Yeah, he's a fine young man. You should be proud.
One.
Of course, at the intermission, he hit me up for $20.
Yes, yeah, we have that on film.
Some things never change.
Our producer Jeff Sermon catches everything. All right, and we'll probably be showing up on your show somewhere.
Great broadcast tonight. Big thanks to our production crew, Jeff Sermon, our producer, Jeff Clark, director, and so excited to be back for another season of Big Ten Wrestling. Great schedule, Big Ten Wrestling and beyond on Mondays. Again, Follow us on Instagram at B1G Wrestling. Fantastic content all season long at B1G Wrestling.
So does he have to pay you back the $20 now for the plug?
He said he's going to pay me back, but
We just want to
I'll
get
believe it when I
details
see
on
it.
this, okay? I raise daughters, and I know what it's like, so.
just over 30 seconds left. What a night here in Madison. If you like action and you like points, you saw it tonight.
There was no standing around by anybody. In fact, go back to that 184-pound bout here where basically, I think it was Otto that fought off his back the whole time there. Pretty well done, and good effort by everybody here.
Convincing performance here for the top-ranked heavyweight in the country, Greg Kerkvliet. Fourth year ago in Detroit, he'll look to make a couple steps up on the podium this upcoming March in Tulsa at the national tournaments. 6'2" as Kerkvliet improves to 7-0.
2 times. Give me 1. Turn around, brother.
Jim, Penn State flexing its muscle in that second half with those national champions.
Yeah, I tell you what, you have that many guys that have that much experience and multiple national titles behind them. It's going to be tough to beat them in dual meets, and they're heavily favored in any type of format you put them in. Badgers fought hard today. It was a big meet for them. A lot of energy in the field house. Fun meet.
So Penn State begins their Big Ten schedule with a victory here in Madison. The Nittany Lions over the Badgers. Here on the Big Ten Network, we'll wrap it up after this.